Hello everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, and it has been quite a day and night. It's still like 8 o'clock in the morning here in Los Angeles. My mom called me last night, I couldn't believe it, right after she went to Tim Heidecker's show in DC, the two Tims, and she went with a friend Felix. Uh, she got on stage with Tim at one point. I thought, what? Like, did she sneak on stage or what? Like, and he just, didn't want to kick her off. Like, no, he brought her on stage and danced with her and sang with her and to her, singing. Well, I won't spoil it. I'll put links in the description. I don't want to put it in this video. I also don't know about the copyright thing, but that's not even important. I just want it to be its own thing. Enjoy it, and go get tickets to Tim's show. He's still on tour. I have a ticket. I couldn't really make it to first week of his tour in LA, and then he had to cancel some shows anyways because he was sick with COVID. But he's gonna like reschedule them. Or maybe he already did them like at a different date before he left LA. But yeah, it was going to be really hard for me. I was in the middle of classes, so September 9th, I was like, okay, I definitely want to go at the end of the tour. I'm glad he added a show at the El Rey, so if you're going there, we'll be going together. And I'm just inviting some friends over to the show. It's everybody who's going. And so what my mom told me, okay, this is amazing. First of all, she said it was like the best show she's ever seen. And we've seen Tim and like Tim doing acts with a bunch of other comedians. Tim and Eric several times. We saw Neil Hamburger. That was actually another one of the best shows, at least I've ever seen. Tim and Neil Hamburger doing their stand-up at Johnny Brenda's in Philadelphia. Still can't believe my mom and I went to go see that. That was great. And that was when which album was it? Now I can just barely like see the glimpse of the title, but anyways, that was 2013, like November 2013. So she said that, okay, Tim did the comedy, and she said it was hilarious. Everybody was laughing. She said it was a huge venue in DC. By the way, Tim found out, he said the guy or the people who own the place, it's whatever, I won't get into it, but basically unsavory stuff, conservative views on it's owned by a church that has, and I don't want to get into it. I don't want to bring negativity into this, but he gave them their mind this morning. He gave them the finger basically and said they're a bunch of narcissists. But anyways, he didn't realize that before the show, according to like what he said this morning, or last night. But anyway, so they did the comedy, like Tim did his stand-up, and she said there were a few minutes in between. Then the band came out, the very good band, and including Vic Berger. And she said she was really trying to get Vic Berger's attention, but he couldn't see her, I guess. And also, I'm sure he was busy playing, but she was like waving at Vic and yelling for him. And they've spoken on the phone before, but haven't met in person. And apparently the way she describes it is, and Felix was telling me a little bit too on the phone last night, I just couldn't believe it. So first of all, let me set up, I was not feeling good when she called me. I was excited for her and happy she was at the show. It had nothing to do with that. I was just in one of my, it's like the floor fell out. Just the floor opened up and I, boom, just sank right down, low into the ground. I was just feeling really bad, really low, like, I'm a shame, I'm a failure, just about things in general, about my life, it's just, and also I wasn't writing with quite the discipline I wanted, and just stuff, all kinds of troubles, I've had a lot of problems, and, I was disabled for years with a dissociative disorder that I developed due to, stress, and I don't even like saying that, I don't even like saying stress, just whatever, things experienced. And I was homeless for a few years and just had a lot of other problems too, religious brainwashing, speaking of that in that venue, and that I really had to work for years to undo. And I'm thankful that I'm finally in the phase where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't affect me. I don't worry about it. It's still a part of me in a way, but it's like I don't have in my mind like these compulsive thoughts like, well, what if it's true? What if God's going to send me to hell? All this stuff. What if but that wasn't my only fear. Actually, my fear was like, what if I'm like seared into heaven, like forced into heaven? I don't want to be there either. So like, no, don't worry about it at all. It's like so comically a myth, and it's actually, now that I'm older, it's like fascinating. It's like the Bible stories are just like this ancient science fiction myth about these, creatures and beings from outer space. But anyways, so I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling all right during the day. I took a huge bike ride. It sounds like I was going to say I took a huge shit. I had it. Sound like I was going to say I had a huge shit. I rode my bike up Griffith Park. I didn't realize how hard that ride was, and it's not like massively hard. A lot of cyclists were riding up without problems. I was the one. First of all, I was not on a bike that's really for hills. It's more of a street bike. But and also I forgot I could put it into the gear. Which one's the gear where it's easier to pedal? Is it higher gear or lower gear? I think it's lower gear. And so I finally did that, but even then I had to walk it up certain parts of the hill. And I was going up fairly high. I didn't realize that because the whole street, Vermont Avenue, going up to the actual entrance of the park, it's going uphill. And most of that I just walked my bike up. But that was cool. But I wore myself out so much to the point where it's like I had to eat extra and like just to keep my energy up. And it was a fun ride. It by no means like hurt me or anything, but I was kind of distracted by that, just the fact that my body was so worn out. Good exercise though, a lot of fun. Saw coyotes. Wrote most of the rest of the day. Lied down around 7 o'clock, and around 7:20 my mom called me. And so it would have been 10:20 in DC. So Tim's show just let out. And Felix was on the phone with her, my friend who took her there. And he's like, Angelo, did you see my text, my video? I'm like, no, what? I was lying down. Then I see not only I had a message from him, but it was a video. And he said, your mom went on stage with Tim and danced with him. So apparently what happened, my mom said, they were sitting in the 4th row for most of the show because the first 3 rows were reserved for the VIP seats, VIP tickets. And when the concert started, I guess people were getting up. Oh, Tim told everyone, move in, move up close to the front of the stage. Like, don't, sit down. So she was moving up. And she said people were recognizing her even before the show started, out in line from the cook-off. And I guess, I don't know, it's people were like recognizing her, and people are just nice at the shows, but she said she kept trying to zigzag close to the front of the stage, and people were letting her through, and I guess people recognized her. But people are nice at these shows anyways. Tim's fans are, a good crowd. Like, they treat people well, for the most part. I mean, for all the part that I've seen. And so she got to the front of the stage, and she said apparently people behind her like knew her from the cook-off, and I guess other people did, and basically people were pointing her at her and yelling like, Tim, like to try and get his attention onto her. And so apparently he said, okay, come up on stage. And so she went on stage while he was singing. He was in I won't say what he was wearing and stuff. Look at the links in the description, the 2 Twitter videos. And it was a really great moment. So he took her up on there, held her hand, they hugged. He was singing like right in her ear and to the crowd and back to her again, and he twirled her around, and she danced a little bit, and the audience was cheering. And I'm curious who else has video out there, but I'm not worried about that, about collecting all the video or anything. It was a great moment. And then I saw in Felix's video, he's the one who took the one that I uploaded, and he sent it to me. Not only she was walking down the stage, and it's funny because as she was walking off the stage, I'm like, oh boy, like I know her vision's not great, so she was like shuffling along, and there's lots of flashing lights, and she wasn't sure where the steps were, and she kind of bumped into Vic Berger's table and keyboard and said something to him, but then security took her hand and walked her down the steps. It was only like 3 or 4 steps, and I could see afterwards Felix walked up to her with the camera, and she had a huge smile, and she was very happy. And so she said this morning it was the greatest show of her life probably, and she just had a great time. She couldn't believe it. And it was funny because before the show, and Tim was singing his heart out, but before the show, for the months up to when she eventually, well, the show came, because I bought tickets for a while ago. she didn't know she wanted to go. She was like, first of all, she's scared of COVID. She's scared of getting shot in DC, which I said, that is so ridiculous. You're watching way too much Fox News and news in general, because it's not just Fox that just play up this menace of people shooting each other, crime everywhere. We need more cops. We need more police. We need, armored tanks rolling down the streets at all times. We need curfew, all this stuff. And trying to scare people, it's all the old nonsense prejudice stuff about, people who don't look like you and live in different neighborhoods than you. They're a danger, they're a threat, all this nonsense. So, I knew she would eventually go. So I bought the tickets anyway, even though she was like, no, I don't want to get shot. And the COVID thing, legitimate concern. But I said, Tim's audience, they're pretty progressive. Like, most of them, they're concerned about people's health. They're wearing masks. They've been vaccinated. They test themselves, I assume. I actually don't know that, but Tim does require masking on this tour. And so her chance of, getting sick is almost zero. Anyway, so she finally agreed to go. She went. She had souvlaki with Felix before the show. Felix, thanks for taking her out for everything the whole night, because she couldn't get there on her own. And she just said she had an incredible time. She couldn't believe it. And I can't believe it. I'm like, who would have known Tim would bring her on stage? I didn't think that would happen at all. I thought she was just going to go see the show and enjoy it. But hey, the fans, I guess the way she describes it is the fans kept pointing at her and screaming for Tim to bring her on stage, or at least I don't know exactly if they were thinking get her on stage or what, but that was pretty cool. Really cool. And the video is amazing. Just watch it again in the description. I put as the thumbnail of the video a screenshot of it. So anyways, today still recovering from my bike ride, but I'm not like hurting or anything. I'm just need to rest a little bit and eat right and eat enough, and going to do a lot of writing. And I was feeling so down last night. I had some really trippy dreams, really kind of scary. I could not fully rest when I get in these moods, and it's just thinking about negatives, not thinking about it, but just having the experience of it creeping up on me, all these past emotions and negative things that I've experienced, and things that I've had in my life that it just caught up with me, and it just catches up with me sometimes. And I just, first of all, I was trying to force myself to think, be grateful, because I'm going to write even better tomorrow, and this will be an even better problem to overcome. That works, and then it doesn't, and it works, and it doesn't. But just trying to think, okay, just go right with it. That's what I learned from my depersonalization, derealization disorder, is when you get those feelings, don't fight them, because that's like making you disconnect from your feelings in order to try and avoid painful feelings. So you're like dissociating even further. And the dissociative disorder is dissociating, and it's extremely painful and numb at the same time, and it's just it can be disabling. Not really lately, or I don't know, it depends what you mean by disabled. I read somewhere someone said, if you have astigmatism, you have a disability. Like, if you have any vision problem, you have a disability. But if you have glasses, then you have an accommodation for that disability. So disability means a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean any one thing, or you're immobile, or something that's necessarily visible. So anyways, regardless of that, or however that works out, I was feeling low, and I still kind of am, but I'm like, okay, just be okay. Whatever I write today is good, but that means I'm gonna try and write my best with the best dedication and focus, and keep going, and not have this apprehension, which I do have, this fear, like, oh no, what if I don't finish writing today? What if I don't finish my assignment? I can't think like that, because then that'll make me even more nervous when I write. All I have to think is, I'll write whatever I write. If I don't finish it, so be it. Then I'll write exactly what I've needed. And I'm thinking about seeing Tropic Thunder tonight, and I was thinking initially, no, I won't see it tonight, because I'm like, man, I couldn't sleep well last night. I want to be rested before work tomorrow, and I want to get my writing done today. But after my mom had such a great time, it kind of made me remember, and it's playing at the Rooftop Theater at the Montalban. That'll be awesome. Cannabis Movie Club. And I'm like, that's always a great time. I always talk to the people around me. Everyone's super friendly. I'd so much rather be around people who are high on weed than drinking alcohol and drunk. Oh my goodness, they're so much more pleasant to be around. And I was thinking, okay, you know, I should go tonight. Now I'll see how, if I get my writing done that I want to, but I'm like, and if there are still tickets available. But assuming I get my writing done, which I'm sure I can and will, I'm like, okay, then like I should go see it. I should have that experience. I shouldn't retreat and recoil from experiences. I keep thinking it's weird. I keep wanting to judge myself for spending money on going out, even though I have all the money I need to go out now, and it's no concern for me financially. I mean, I always want to keep saving. You know, never know if you have an emergency. But it's weird how I cannot shake that from when I was really broke, poor, you know, homeless. I was homeless for 2.5 years. I lived in my car, and even before that, I was broke a long time. And you know, I can't shake that. Like, oh, I'm kind of doing something I'm not supposed to. It's too bad people have that feeling in them. It should be possible to have a normal life, to have a decent work-life balance. Hey, how about we make it 5-hour work days instead of 8 plus lunch breaks? That could mean 8.5, and make it 4-day work weeks. You know, just hire more people, but pay people the same. Pay them for the full week, so, and more, so people can have lives. Because like, what did I do during most of my 20s? Not most of, pretty much all my 20s, is be afraid of going out and spending money, not having much of a life. Whatever life I could have, I couldn't spend much, so I'd go to the same places, do the same things. And then I learned this lesson that's hard to break, but you know, I've got to break it of, it's okay to go out. It's actually good to go out and meet people. Just because I'm spending money, it doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. I'm not incurring any debt whatsoever. I have no credit cards. I filed bankruptcy about a year ago, and I discharged all my debts because I had a huge amount of debt. And anyway, so got to keep thinking that, but got to get back to what I'm doing. I'm still got in my head all this stuff. My mom on stage with Tim Heidecker. I'm so glad, and the fans were so nice. I could hear them cheering in the video. So thank you if you're watching. And get tickets for Tim's store. Go to his website. I guess it's just timheidecker.com, and you can find tickets there. So that's where I got my ticket for the El Rey Theater. So if you're going to the El Rey Theater for the September 9th show, let me know. I'll see you there. I'm sure I'll see some people I know. We'll see. But anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.